Howdy, y'all. How you going? We're doing a fun video today. One that I have wanted to do for so freaking long. I don't know why I haven't done it. I thought, you know what? I'm not even going to look at suggestions right now. I'm going to do the house video, the one I've wanted to do for probably a year or more. I've talked about it before. Here we go. We're just going to simply look at houses in Australia, and I will follow this up with more. If you guys really like this, if this gets good feedback, a lot of likes on the video, then we'll do more of this, and we can tweak it. You can tell me maybe how I can change the video, what other things we can look for, maybe if there's different sites that are better. I just typed this in. This is the first result that came up. Granted, I'm using U.S. internet, and I'm in the U.S. But this is the best I could find, realestate.com.au. It seems legitimate enough, and this is just a fun video, so kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. I'm just kind of going to look around in multiple areas. I do pose a question for you, though. If you love to answer questions in the comments, a couple questions I have before we even get into this is, in your opinion, or if you got cold hard facts, what state or territory in Australia is like the most expensive on average? Is there a state that stands out as being extremely expensive? Like here in the U.S., no matter where you are in the state, it's generally accepted as New York, the state is very expensive. California, the state is very expensive. Hawaii, the state, very expensive. And then perhaps if you want to take it further, maybe a certain city. I would guess in Australia, I would guess that Sydney or Melbourne would be the most expensive. Out of the two, I would further guess that Sydney is probably the most expensive by just a tad over Melbourne. Alrighty, let's get to it. Let's just scroll down. This is the first page I have opened here. This is the home page, and we'll look at the map. We'll look at some listings and just see how this flows. I'm excited. I also have my US dollars, or I'm sorry, my Australian dollars to US dollars conversions. So some of these I might convert and see what the price would be like using the money I'm familiar with. All right, here we go. Okay, so if we scroll down, the first house, Mountain Creek, cool. We got a pool, although this is under contract already. Dang. How's this one? Okay, so we have a couple. That looks like has a lot of land, perhaps, yeah? All right, let's click on this one. This is under offer, too. Dang it. All right, this is North Richmond. All right, now, I'm going to know states, of course, like New South Wales, I know that. But when it comes to areas, if they're not one of the big cities that everyone knows, I'm not going to know these. So North Richmond, like, I don't have a clue where that is. But maybe you can find this interesting because you might know. So at first glance, pretty cool. We got a brick house. Brick houses are pretty cool. They're generally strong, right? And they have their own aesthetic. Some people like more than others. Love the vegetation. We have beautiful grass. I think it's real. I'm assuming in certain places, maybe you guys use artificial turf or fake or faux grass, you would call it. People here do use it as well, although real grass, if you're generally in the eastern U.S., is way more prevalent. I love the palm tree and the various different vegetation. Very green and very nice feeling. And here we go. This is what I'd like to see, like the interior, see some differences, some similarities. Compared to some other countries we could choose, generally I think a lot of houses in Australia would be somewhat similar to houses you could find in the U.S., as opposed to some other places where houses would be way different than the U.S., if that makes sense. I like the deck back here. Pretty nice. And there's a layout. This is a 4-bedroom. They're all in kind of a 4-corner design here with, of course, the living and dining area over here. Then, of course, you have your veranda out front, the porch out back. Veranda in back, porch out front. Sorry, got that mixed up. I don't know why it shows a range. Maybe this isn't a so-called listing price. Maybe this is like a range of what the house is gonna be sold at. I'm not sure if you guys want to explain that. Usually I would see a price. And then I'm seeing that the loans, like mortgages, are probably pretty similar. But yeah, that's the first house. What do you think of this? Let me check the price. Let's go $680. Say this house is $680. Seems kind of expensive, right? Because that is a lot of money. Although it's not terrible because 680,000 Aussie dollars are 470,000 US dollars. Now, if you would talk to me like 10 or 15 years ago, I'd think, dang, that is an expensive house, right? But in reality, the housing market's so crazy, although it's starting to cool down, it's still at a crazy amount because it went up so high the last few years. And 470 grand here in the U.S. is not crazy anymore. It's quite normal for a house, which is just sounds so weird to say. Okay, now this is cool. This is 499,000 AU dollars, so that doesn't seem bad because when I convert that, I'm sure that will be pretty good in U.S. price. I love that tree, of course. Love the yard with the purple contrast. Really cool. Again, we have a brick house. I like the roof on this one as well. Look at that. This is nice. This is real nice, actually. I love the floor. Really cool. Cool looking kitchen, kind of. Interesting setup. I mean, it's small, but it's neat. Really nice, light, uplifting feeling in the house, though. It's pretty cool, actually. More on the basic side, not too flashy or crazy, but it's nice. Fun fact, it was very limited, but I could have turned it into a career. I was doing so much at the time that it ended up falling off, but I did have my foot in the door in real estate photography. I've done it before. Anyone watching me in the past or watching this video, comment down below if you are a real estate photographer. It was fun, taking pictures with the different lenses inside of the house, getting that good lighting, the wide angle lens for certain shots. And then, of course, I did a lot of drone photography and videos for the listing as well. So it was pretty cool. So yeah, 500K just about. Let's do it on the conversion. And that one comes in at about 344,000, round up to 345K US dollars. Again, that's pretty good. What's funny, I've noticed that I didn't point out, of course, you have the 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1-car garage. That makes sense, right? That's the same thing you would see here. But of course, the square footage. So, is this house 1,500 square feet, 2,200 square feet? Maybe it's really big, like a 3,500 or 4,000 square feet house. Here, it's 510 meters, or 510 square meters, which is hilarious because I have no idea what that is compared to square feet. So that's really funny. All right, so now I'm going to play with this a little bit. These were just random. That was a good way to get our feet wet. Now I'm going to do some different experiments here. So I'm going to check what some really cheap houses look like. Let's go 200,000 Aussie dollars, which let's see what that converts to real quick. Okay, that's 138,000 US dollars. So again, 15 years ago, let's say, that would have been a decent house. Now that is like a dirt cheap house. Crazy market we're in. That 138 grand is considered like bottom barrel cheap, but that's the crazy world we're in. So again, 200,000 Australian dollars would be on the cheaper end, I imagine. Let's see what we can expect. Now this is, I believe, in all of Australia, not one particular area. I'm assuming we're going to have some really small houses or really possibly run down, really outdated, needs quite a bit of work, that type of deal, okay? Look at this one. Has good landscape around it. Look at the mountains in the backyard there. What should I click on? Look at this one out in the desert. We got to take a look at this one. Here we go. This is Opal Crescent in Coober Pedy, of course. This is $148,000 Australian. So that's pretty cheap, right? Because the first page we were looking at, they were all 600 grand and such. Look at this. Oh my God, this is totally underground, which fits the bill, right? What the heck? Look at it. It's kind of neat, yeah? Ooh, okay. Little rundown. It's not ultra luxurious, right? Or brand new. We can see that. I love the bedrock showing through here. It's just crazy, right? I mean, it's very interesting. You got to give it that. I mean, look at your wall. Who needs drywall? We got rock. We got earth. Love that there's a light sticking out of it. I mean, there's just this bizarre clash of what you think a house should be. This is totally different, but I really like it. I don't know if I could necessarily call this my main home. I feel like this is not for everyone, but it's kind of cool, and it's something I'd want to see just to experience it once. It's interesting. But that is pretty cheap, 148 grand. If we do the conversion, that's probably going to be what, like 80 grand US? Yeah, well, a little more, 95,000. So, yeah, that's pretty cheap. Pretty cheap to live underground in Southern Australia, I'd say, yeah? Here we have a duplex, which we, of course, have as well. This is in Southern Australia, Whyalla Nori. So that's pretty interesting. Look at the carport right there. That's what we would call this, where it's not enclosed garage, right? But more like a carport, I guess. There might be other names for it as well. I love the ute, though, back there with the flatbed. That's kind of cool. All right, so anyway, yeah, this is a cheaper house, by the way. Love the trees, though. It's cool looking, Definitely a desert environment. We have a rock yard or a xeriscape, whatever you want to call it. This is, of course, See my hat here? This is, of course, how 90% of the homes are in New Mexico. Unless you want a really high water bill and you have grass, it's not, the preferred method. You want to have rocks with very drought-tolerant plants and landscaping. And quite frankly, your average home in New Mexico, at least in my experience, would have this almost identical landscaping. Maybe a palm tree, some bushes, some yuccas, some creosote, a couple cactus, and call it good. But yeah, this house isn't too bad. It's, you know what? Not bad at all. Maybe a little outdated in certain areas. You could spruce it up. It's got a decent little yard, again, yard of rock. And then, of course, in Illinois, the Chicago area, of course, we have grass yards. So it's just regional differences. And I'm assuming same thing in Australia. It's pretty cool to see the differences. But yeah, this isn't a bad home. I mean, it's, again, not fancy, not huge. Although it is bigger than the house we saw earlier, 701 square meters. But you know what? That's a pretty cheap price. As anywhere, I feel like you're going to have some good deals in certain areas of Australia. And in certain areas that are just really in demand or really popular, for example, like Sydney or maybe like, Gold Coast or something. Of course, those are more famous, more popular. They have tons of amenities and reputation, so of course they're going to be way more expensive. Alrighty, and now we're looking at the totally opposite end of the spectrum. Now this is the whole country. There is over 1,200 results of houses that are a minimum of 5 million Australian dollars and up. Now, this is just for fun, of course. I think, holy crap, look at this. Oh my goodness. Yeah, a lot of these are just contact agent. They don't even have a price. That's how you know it's expensive, right? When you see something listed, whether it's a car or a property, and it says call for price, that translates to you probably can't afford this. But that's just look, anywho, for the sake of it. I think houses like this are usually crazy and, in my opinion, way expensive. Like, I can't ever fathom paying, $5 million for a house. Who am I kidding? I don't have $5 million anyway. It is interesting to see just what they include and the architectural style and stuff. So let's click at this one. This one is around $9 million, let's call it. This is in Victoria Safety Beach area. Sounds kind of interesting, right? If we look at the map, it is, let's see. Oh, wow. This is... Oh, I forgot. Okay, so this is interesting. This is Melbourne, I'd say greater area, or at least Melbourne is close by. But of course, you have Port Phillip. You have this, part of the ocean that sneaks in here. What is the geographical name for that? It's escaping me. Where, the ocean comes in between this tiny little opening and creates this almost like lake, right? Even though it's totally attached to the ocean, if that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, so you have this kind of peninsula that stretches out here, which I'm assuming is beautiful and probably even more money than living, let's say, up here just north of Melbourne in a suburb or something, right? So yeah, this looks like a beautiful area. It's way down here. I'm sure you have the beach like 5 seconds away. Oh, man, that is crazy. So let's take a look. I mean, look at that. It looks expensive, right? It looks like $1 million homes, or millions of dollars, I should say. Look at, you got the Sea-Doo right there. Totally looks like like artwork. Huge just walls, huge ceilings, this very open plan, premium materials. Wow, that is craziness. Of course, you got the Range Rover in the garage. You got a couple super bikes for good measure. Yep, that sounds about right, doesn't it? Look at that. That is crazy. Oh, I gotta admit, that is a good view though. Look at the view out there. Look at this floating staircase. Oh my God. Look at that. That is nuts. They even have some cool looking plants over there. I mean, yeah, this is craziness. It is cool to see though, the kitchen. I always do like seeing the kitchens, and my wife is going to be excited when she sees this video. She loves looking at the kitchens too. You got to admit, in these expensive houses, one thing that is pretty awesome that I do kind of drool over is the kitchens. That is a cool kitchen, got to admit. Wow, really big. Counter space for days. Look at that. Ooh. Wow, that is a pretty cool view. That is nice. Wow. Hey, if you could pay $8 million for a house, more power to you. This looks like a good candidate. Okay, now this is a different end of the spectrum. This is stuff that I'm interested in someday. I think anyone who's anyone would love to have a lot of land, right? I'm talking, dozens of acres where you have room to just grow your own stuff. You can take, like your truck or your ATV or something and go for a ride, and you can go for hikes. You can do all these things on your own land, right? Having tons of room to play around. I think that's awesome. Well, this is what this is. This is in Wedderburn, New South Wales. This is 23 hectares, right? I think that's what that is. HA is hectares, which are different than acres. Hectares, I believe, are bigger, if I remember. I think it was like 2.25 acres is 1 hectare, something like that. So this is really big. For any people that use acres or Americans watching, I think this would be like over 50 acres, which is impressive for sure. So yeah, you have your mainstay there. And look at this. Oh, that is beautiful. Of course, this is bigger than it looks in this photograph. You have the main driveway and house right here. And then look at all this. I mean, you got greenhouses. You got crops. I mean, look at this natural kind of body of water over here. Oh, my goodness. This is huge. You got a forested area even. And it looks like you're surrounded by just quite beautiful natural land. So that's really, really cool. There's another aerial shot. Wow, that is impressive. No wonder this is really high on the price list, right? This is in our millions of dollars search here. Holy smokes. And that house is big. That main house area we were looking at, look at how big it is. I didn't realize it was that big. Yeah, see, I would take this over that fancy mansion we just looked at earlier, even though that was quite impressive as well. This is that country living like this. This looks awesome. And let's look on the map so everyone can see here. This is kind of cool. This is a cool area. I mean, if you lived here and you needed to go to town, right? You needed to get some city life out of your system, or you needed, of course, to go to some stores and restaurants, whatever. I mean, this doesn't look like it's too far away from, of course, Campbelltown's really close, and then some other suburbs. And then, look, you can drive all the way to Sydney, and that is not that far away. And if you wanted to go to the beach or something, look, you're not too far inland. You can go over here to the coast is right there. How cool is that? That's a pretty cool setup. This is a cool property. I want it. Look at this house. I'm not going to look through all the pictures on these. I'm just going to look through some now. This is, where is this? This is part of Melbourne as well. Melbourne coming in really expensive, I think. Maybe I was wrong earlier when I said Sydney was more money. Look at this. Looks like Wimbledon over here. You got your own tennis court. Looks like some crazy, house that doesn't even look like a house. It looks like a fancy building. Oh, my God. This is a different life, I swear. Look at these. These are on another level. Oh, my goodness. That is a good view. Love the ones with a view. Some homes, it's not about the home. Some homes, it's about paying for that view, right? All right, let's look at Sydney versus Melbourne. Yeah, so if we go over here to rent, we can do all types. This is another good way to kind of gauge how expensive an area is, maybe a little more clear as well. Wow, first result. First result in Sydney, $3,200 per week, not per month. Per week? Jeez, who can afford that? Even this is expensive. Hold up. Is this real? Am I interpreting this wrong? $4,200 per week. What in the world? Let's see what this looks like. I mean, look at it. It's right near the harbor there. God, it's beautiful. I got to admit, that is a nice... Oh, wow. That's why. That is in, quite the area, I think. Jeez. That looks like a resort. That is a picturesque city, is it not? Wow. Damn. I guess that price is justified. That isn't just any old first apartment. That is like a luxury place to be right there. I mean, you're right next to the Royal Botanic Garden. Oh, man. That is something else. Yeah, Harbor Bridge is right next door, it looks like. But, I mean, let's see, $4,250 per week. So times that by 4, you're looking at almost 17 grand, round up there. So let's see, 17 grand a month would be 11,000 US dollars a month. Wow. I can't even believe that. That is insane. So if you're living in this right by the Harbor Bridge there, 11 grand a month for rent. If you live there, what do you do? So these are pretty expensive. I mean, $1,000 per week. That's $4,000 per month. I've never seen stuff listed per week, by the way. That is different to me. Maybe listings are like that in the U.S. I just have not seen that. It's always per month. And usually, maybe the U.S. is cheap, or maybe I've been looking in cheap places. Higher end, either homes for rent or even luxury apartments. Of course, this major depends on the city, because we're not talking about, let's say, San Francisco and New York. They're really expensive. But if we're talking, reasonable places in the U.S., I mean, you can get rent a nice home in most areas for like $2,000 a month, let's say. If you want an ultra luxurious loft or apartment or a really big home to rent, maybe you're looking at $3,200 a month. But I mean, some of these are like $3,200 a week. So these are really expensive. Granted, it's probably showing like the best options, you can find in Sydney. But still, it's pretty expensive. I mean, even this one, $900 per week, you got to remember that adds up $3,600 a month. That is just like wicked expensive. Okay, so that was basically the whole first page. Yeah, they were all around $800 a week and up from there. None really cheaper. Granted, I know there's probably some that are cheaper inland and all these different areas, but this was just a quick look. So keep that in mind. That this is just a very quick look and it's not in depth. Otherwise, this video would be like 3 hours long. But this is just kind of first results, and I understand that it can be like sort by featured. Of course, these are going to be featured results. Maybe these results pay to be here first. I'm not sure. The first impressions here. So let's look at rent in Melbourne now. Oh, let's see. So let's do this. See, I know these are probably different zip codes. I'm just going to click that. Hopefully surrounding areas helps us out there. These are for rent. So let's see. Okay, now this is confusing. $1,200 a week. Okay, that's what the W means. And furnished. Now, furnished helps. If it's furnished, that's a better deal because otherwise, furniture is very expensive, right? If you rent a place and it's plain empty. The per week thing is still throwing me off. Although, look at this. Good views. This looks like a nice place. It's only $750 per week. Say only $750. That's very expensive in my experience. But keep in mind, this is only what? These are kind of small, I think, right? One bath. I don't know what that means. One bedroom. Yeah, these are a little tight. So I'd say, based on first impressions here, that Melbourne is slightly cheaper, at least when it comes to rent or renting, than Sydney. Is that safe to say? Because these are all $400, $500. Some are more expensive, of course, but there are $400 or $500 a week ones, whereas I really didn't find anything under $800 in Sydney. All right, now we're going to look at land, rural, and acreage. So we're going to look at some cool, big plots of land, some ranches, as we would say. This is what I like seeing. Look at this. See? You get some beautiful, look at this, Queensland. What a cool state to have land in, I imagine. I mean, look at that. Look at the lush green. Look at the mountains and hills. Ooh, gotta love it. Look at that. Bravo. That's nice. Yeah, I got a tractor, got a workshop. Ooh, that is cool. I bet some of these are self-sustaining, maybe off-grid. I'm not sure. But I love it. It's kind of cool, right? Look at that area. That is freaking gorgeous. And this, by the way, is $1.3 million. So, yeah, that's going to cost you. Let's see where this is at. This is off of Yepon Road. And this is near the coast, actually, believe it or not. Just slightly inland. Way north, though. So not quite way up here, but definitely north of Brisbane by quite a ways, even north of Bundaberg. So, yeah, very interesting. Here's an interesting one. This is only $489,000, which would be about maybe, I'm not going to use a conversion anymore. I'm too lazy. I think that's like $315,000 American, let's say. This is cool. Another nice hilly area, nice and green with blue skies in the picture. Looks nice. I mean, look at that. That's kind of cool. Oh, I like that. Wow, actually very hilly in this area. Love how it's surrounded by all these natural mountainous scenes right around you, but of course you have some tall trees and then this beautifully manicured grass that the actual homestead is on. Got a nice gravel driveway, bodies of water, got the old tractor out front. That's a cool area, I gotta say. This is a cool area. And there it is. It's way down here in Victoria, okay? Not too far from the coast again. I don't know. I really like this one. Something about this I actually really like. So you can see you have shed, the carport, multiple shed and storage areas. Very cool. I like this one a lot. Mountain retreat on acreage. Picturesque views of mountain ranges, eagles soaring in the distance, and the peace and quiet of the bush, all in a 20-minute drive to the township of Urim and a 25-minute drive to the coast. See, that's pretty spectacular. This unique private 5.6 acres approximately setting of pasture land offers a perfect getaway. You will feel like you have left the rest of the world behind. This property is totally off-grid with the main barn facing northerly aspect, providing all-day warmth in the winter months and views from every window. Jeez, this is really freaking cool. Wow, I don't know. If you haven't seen now from the video, these are fun looking at all these different property types and houses and buildings and apartments. But I tell you what, seeing the these off-grid like mountain properties with this gorgeous land around it, yeah, these are what I get excited about. I mean, that would be so freaking awesome. All right, so I just scrolled through. There's some other decent ones as well. Nothing really caught my eye, though. So the ones we clicked on were the ones that, looked like they were kind of promising. But that's going to do it for this one. I feel like this is getting a little long. I really hope you enjoyed this. And honestly, for as long as this literally didn't even scratch the surface. There's tons of different properties and houses and so on for sale in Australia, of course. And this video really depends on your guys' input, your comments. So I would love to hear what you had to say about this. I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if you would like to see this again and maybe how we could tweak this, do this kind of video again, but maybe in a different style, or add or subtract something that we did in here to make it a little better. I love doing different types of videos like this, as you know. And I actually really did enjoy this. A very small first look at properties in Australia just for fun. I think it's kind of cool. And hey, maybe someday if I hit the lottery, I would love to have, maybe you can see me out in the bush, in the mountains. I don't know, in Queensland or Victoria or wherever. But hey, that's pretty much all I got for you on this one. I hope to see you in the next one, guys. And like I said, I hope you did enjoy. Please throw a like on there if you did, and subscribe to be part of this amazing community. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker, and until next time, y'all, I'll catch you later.